Hi girl, what you doing? Where's all your buddies? Huh? Where's all your buddies? You're not by yourself, are you? Hey, why are you running today? Come on. I'm the same guy you let get to within 5 feet of you yesterday, silly. But I guess because I didn't have the camera, huh? You don't like the camera? You're like him, her, it, or they? Get my 6. We might see something up here other than a deer. I'm going to show you some work I did today. I'm ready again, out working in the sun today. So I wasn't going to make a video today. It's late. I've decided I'm going to start taking a couple days a week off here pretty soon. But I got motivated by Jeannie up in Boston, who refers to herself as a, excuse me, I just had dinner, a wonderful salad. A 68-year-old non-pot smoking hippie from Boston. Hey, I'm in Virginia. The shiznit's legal down here. I ain't judging. So, she motivated me to make this video that is about goals, because here's what ain't easy. Getting old. I know you're laughing because you're like, you're not even 50 yet. I'm close. But I've discovered something recently that was kind of, oh, there's a rabbit. Watch. As soon as I turn the camera around, it's gone. But here's what I did today. Check this out. We lost a tree here about 2 weeks ago. A big old gray birch fell here and it blocked our trail. You can see here's the top of it. I finally came up here today. This is the longest I've let anything lay, 2 weeks. Finally cut it up. That's going to burn really good. The tree was dead, standing dead for like 2 years, so it's already seasoned. I can't wait to burn that. But here's what's interesting about these birch trees. One of the ways in which they propagate. You see all these young birch trees here? This is gray birch. This was the parent tree of every single one of these. The tree knew it was dying, and so it sent up tubers from its roots down here to propagate and create all these new, gosh, probably hundreds of them. And at some point I'm going to thin some of them out. But new gray birches off of its existing roots. So technically, I mean, this sprang up from the root of the tree as it was dying. So technically, this is that tree. Isn't that amazing? But now, yeah, like I said, I came up. Oh, it was about 8 feet high. Got the Husqvarna 455 Rancher chainsaw out here and clippers, and it took about an hour, but I got it. And then I even mowed there so it matches. Everything's uniform. All right, so our friend up in Boston wrote me a letter, and I'm not going to tell you everything she said because some of it was kind of personal, and I don't want to disclose some of her personal information. There's a couple of deer down there. Can you see them? I'm just going to show you what I see. So I'll give you my view. Oh, down there eating one of my poplar trees. Whatever. She's hungry. Yeah, so you get my view. So, but our friend up in Boston has some health issues. Some physical, some emotional / mental health issues. But she wrote a very endearing letter, and she sent me a ton of stickers. Thanks for the stickers. Talking about how, and despite being 68 years old, she's still setting goals. She mentioned she loved my channel. She mentioned how awesome I am. Thank you. Well, we don't need to go over that. We all know that. But this whole thing about this ain't easy, about getting old, she motivated me in her letter because she talked about one of her goals she has. There's another deer. Look at that. They're everywhere. That's where her buddies were. I knew they were around here somewhere. There she is. There's like a whole family of like 7 deer that run around here all the time together. I'm following you, girl. I'll follow you down that way too. What a nice view from here. Look at that. There's our house. Our pond. All right, so one of Janine's issues Jeannie's issues is a sleeping disorder in which she pretty much stays awake all night and sleeps during the day. She referred to herself as nocturnal, mentioned that some people are nocturnal. I believe that. I have no problem believing that. And at 68 years old, she's trying to combat that and become diurnal, which is when you're awake during the day and you sleep at night. Then, of course, biurnal is both. And that really motivated me to hear somebody that's 68 years old still doing that, still setting goals, because she said she wants to contribute to society more and to help other people more. The last few years, I have struggled myself with certain goals. One of them is like athletic. I've just on again and off again, I've decided, I was going to get back in shape, start racing again. But I know I'm slow and I know I'm old. And I'm like, what's the use? It's like, I'm never going to be as fast as I was in my youth and in my prime. Then I was thinking about maybe getting in shape and just being content to maybe be an age group contender, I'm like, oh man. And I just kept saying no. Even I'm sawing up that log today. I'm like, I'm too old. Here's something I've discovered recently about aging, because this is the first time I've been this age. I've never been older before. When I was 20, and 30, man, I would just hammer the miles. I took maybe 5 or 6 days a year off. And I could get away with that just as long as I put easy days in there, like easy days where I'd have 30-minute, basically a jog. That was my day off. Well, I knew that if I wanted to race and all that stuff, even at the age group level, I needed to lose a lot of weight. In January, I weighed 192 pounds. Here we are in September, I'm down to 176. So I have lost 16 pounds in the last 9 months, and I've got about 6 to go. I got to go under 170 if I'm going to race. I got to get in the 160s. You run a mile 2 seconds faster, your mile pace, 2 seconds faster for every pound you lose. So you figure 14 pounds, without being in any more fit. At the same level of fitness, that's just physics, okay? So I've lost 16 pounds, so already we're looking at 32 seconds per mile faster just from the weight loss. But I've been doing all this running, all this biking, feeling exhausted all the time, and I couldn't understand it. I'm like, well, just push more. I got to where I ran 1 hour nonstop twice in the last 2 weeks for the first time in 15 years. And then boom, I'm out of commission for I think I took 4 days off, didn't train. And that's the longest I've had off in probably a year. It was my first day off in 4 months. But I started Googling stuff, because in the past, when I'd feel sluggish, I'm training, I'm tired, I'm like, well, I'll just keep pushing, get in better shape, become more fit, and then you'll have more energy. But I was Googling this stuff, and what I found out is that once you get middle age and beyond, it doesn't work that way anymore. Things don't work that way anymore. You can't just keep pushing yourself physically, because you get sick or injured, just like I did. And I read where right around age 50, with which I'm 2 years and 2 months away from being, one of the most important aspects of any sort of training, especially endurance training, is recovery. You have to let your body recover. I'm like, this is new to me. I usually just push and push and push because the belief system was always, if I push harder than the next guy, I'll beat him. There's no way somebody's going to beat me if they didn't. I remember, growing up in West by God, Virginia, and the winters were terrible. And I remember watching the thermometer on the front porch, waiting for the temperature to get up to 0 before I'd go run. And I would run every day if it was 0 degrees and 1.5 feet of snow. I ran through blizzards that I couldn't see 10 feet in front of my face. And I loved it because in my head I said, I'm probably the only person in the state right now training in this weather. I prayed for blizzards. We get a 2-week-long blizzard. I knew the competition probably wasn't getting out there training for 2 weeks, but I was. And it paid off, with a state championship, track scholarship, all this stuff. But things are different now, and it's like, what? I've got to rest? I've got to recover? Get this. I don't need the carbo load anymore, like back in the day. I need more protein. And I'm losing up to 5% of my muscle mass per year. So I've got to lift more weights, which makes you heavier, as you know, because muscle weighs more than fat, which makes you slower. But so I was pretty much thinking, well, the heck with it. I'm not going to do all that because, and I'm old anyway, and what's the big deal if I win my age group? I'm still going to be finishing like 20th, out of like 500 overall. That's once upon a time that would have been humiliating, But then I got that letter from our non-pot smoking hippie friend up in Boston. And I thought, here's a woman who is still setting goals at age 68, who is facing both physical and mental/emotional challenges, and she's not stopping. And she's writing lovely letters and sending me all kinds of really neat stickers. And I guess, I always talk about not giving up when you're trying to achieve goals, no matter what it is. Never, ever, 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 ever give up. Well, I caught myself giving up. If I was just not going to do what I love and not do it at a competitive level because I'm older and there's no way I can be as fast as I used to be, and because I have to rest, and I've actually started drinking like protein shake supplements to get the recovery. Well, I'm not practicing what I'm preaching if I quit and if I give up and if I don't do it. So, in large part because of that letter I received from that non-pot smoking hippie in Boston, I think I'm just going to keep pushing forward and resting, drinking protein shakes and taking some time off. It's going to be hard. I don't, my little sister is like my counselor because that's what she does. And she explained to me about, she and I, we're like doppelgangers. We don't do well at rest. That's how she put it. We're the types of people that have to be go, 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 go. Is it manic? Maybe. It's definitely type A personality. And it's just an achiever's mindset. But I will quote, one of my favorite quotes too was in the letter from one of my favorite presidents, Teddy Roosevelt. He said, do the best you can with what you have where you are, because that's really all any of us can do. So when we find ourselves at 50 instead of 20 and at 7-minute mile pace instead of 5-minute mile pace for 5Ks, 10Ks, well, that's where we are. And President Roosevelt said that we need to do the best with that. And I agree with him, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So, Jeannie, I want to thank you for the letter. And shout out to Sin Som, short for Cynthia. I got your tripod. Thank you. As you can tell, I'm not using it right now because I'm mobile, doing a loop here. If you guys saw anything walking around behind me, make sure to timestamp it. I'm kind of thinking there may not be anything around here as of right now at this moment because the deer were here. They seemed pretty safe. They didn't seem to be threatening in any way. So, I don't know. I just got reminded today from that letter from a 68-year-old woman, a non-pot smoking hippie from Boston. that, who at 68 years old is still trying to make positive changes in her life. And she mentioned, talked about a neighbor here in a couple videos back, this guy that I watched just walk every day for almost 2 years during the pandemic, year and a half. They like lost the equivalency of like another human, and he walks with pep in his step, and he's got his head up now. Any achievement, as long as it's important to the individual, will build confidence. I mean, it can be something as simple as, if you get, say you're unemployed for a while and you finally land a job, and you go out and you get a job, and might not be your dream job, but it's a job. People will notice when you walk with more zip in your step, and you hold your head up higher and your back straighter, and you can look other people in the eyes, when you're talking to them. And that's really what it's all about. It's not about being the greatest or being the absolute best. It's about being the best you, the best us, the best I, for wherever we are and with what we have. That's all any of us can really do. So, thanks for being here with me for another video from Homesteading Off the Grid and whatever the hell this channel's about. Go out there and do something. It might seem small in comparison to other people, like our friend wrote in her letter, and it might seem small compared, to mainstream society, but if it's big for you and if it's an achievement for you, do it. See you for more next time.